come back to my workshop if I don't tell them what they want to hear. I feel like our true highest aligned mission and responsibility, if we're really here as light workers, is to embody truth and to speak that truth. And we can speak that truth with love and compassion. We don't need to be mean and hateful. That's never going to be a good idea. But speaking that truth, if someone's out of alignment, like if I'm, at my in-laws and they're totally projecting BS and not showing honor, and I'm just biting my tongue uncomfortably and I keep having to go there, thinking I have to keep going there, how is that serving my happiness and my feeling empowered? It's not. And in essence, it's also catering to that behavior that's going to keep that enslavement going. So big picture, maybe I speak my truth and maybe they never want to talk to me again, but the way we'll know is by speaking our truth. And when I have the courage to speak my truth, I find that those who really are meant to be on my path with me, they have deeper respect for me. One example I'll give real quick and then I'll pause because I have been talking for half an hour, which was interesting because I wasn't even sure I knew what I was going to talk about. Isn't that amazing? But one of the things this morning is after I spoke my truth with William and I was telling him about my dreams and everything, and I spoke my truth on Facebook and he read, saw what I wrote. He came down and he was processing his dream and just gave me a big hug. He had tears in his eyes and he's like, baby, I was processing my dream and I realized I really do need to get out of my own way and why have I been procrastinating? And it was like this amazing revelation that he had about his own life and how he had not been completely embodying his divine masculine and that he's ready to, what is he afraid of? And it was beautiful because we loving each other can help each other move forward. If he sees I'm stuck, he could be like, what are you afraid of? Why are you stuck? Let me help you move forward. And that is what I feel the true twin flame relationship is about, is helping each other rise and continue to rise in expansion so that we ignite each other. And that's what we're here to do for each other in our sacred, union of a relationship that's very intimate. And then to mirror that outward to everyone we connect with, how to live more truthfully as individuals and as partners. If we're not truthful as ourselves as an individual, how can we really be a truthful partner? And if we want to be in truthful partnerships, if we're not being truthful in our partnerships, how can we be truthful in our parenting or truthful in our connection in the community? And for what my soul knows in every cell of my being is that truth matters. Living with integrity, living with truth, even if after today, some of you are like, what a bitch. She actually said that to her client. I'm never listening to Tanya Love again. Okay, awesome. Because I really am not going to focus on that anymore. For me, it's not about how many people like what I have to say, because often when we're messengers of truth, people don't like what we have to say. Have you guys noticed that? When you're the messenger of truth, maybe somebody's struggling, they know they have an addiction, they need to clear it. They come and ask your opinion, you shine the light on the situation, and then they're like, oh, how dare you say that to me? And you're like, well, wait a minute, I'm just the messenger. You asked what I observed. And we've got to stop lashing out at the messengers, I feel, if we want to evolve and we want to have a beautiful new earth reality, because the messengers come to help with the shift. And if we're trying to make them all feel uncomfortable and intimidate them into silence, how is that serving humanity? How is that serving the whole? And so I'm going to pause for a second because that was a nice little expression for 31 minutes. Is there anybody commenting, Amnon? And I'm going to go look on the page as well.
Nope.
Okay. So if you guys have not logged in yet and you want to, feel free to log in on the chat. And if you want to write in any questions, and if you relate to something I'm going through and you're like, wow, I've really bit my tongue many times and that's awesome, Tanya. You're mirroring that to me. Or, well, what about this, Tanya? I disagree with you. Bring it. Tell me what you're feeling. Remember, the number is 919-518-9773 if anybody wants to call in today. And how about you, Amnon? From what I'm saying, I'll talk to you because sometimes that's just the way it works. What do you feel about the importance of actually speaking your truth? Do you ever feel that you with family kind of bite your tongue on things, or with clients, like I don't want to hurt their feelings, or maybe you just boldly state it all the time what you feel. What do you feel about that?
I always state it the way that I feel, but there are ways to say it that are actually in a way. I mean, you don't hurt their feelings, but you want them to understand how things are. Because if not, they're going to mess up. They're going to screw up. So you tell them, but you do it in a way that they understand. That it doesn't hurt. Not, hey, stop doing this. Yeah. There's a way to say, hey, you shouldn't do that because.
Yes. Yeah, and I feel like that's true. Like the most powerful way we deliver the most powerful way a messenger will reach those who need the message is how it's delivered. And it is true, if we're very hateful and judgmental in how we're expressing, that's not going to really be very well received on the other side. But even I've noticed that even if we're really compassionate and loving with our messages of truth, at times people get uncomfortable with that. And it's okay. Let them go and feel that discomfort, because what it is you're kind of like poking at something that they don't want to see. And if you can help them to like just realize there's something there that's creating discomfort, it can help them to tune into it, to shift it, and to clear it. Mm-hmm. But if none of us have the courage to actually say anything, then they're just going to run around as I think like a toddler having a tantrum is really a child mirroring to us. They're out of control. They've lost their alignment, and they're kind of calling out for help to find the boundary again. And if we just keep giving them whatever they're throwing a tantrum for, I feel like, I've observed this with little toddlers all the way up to the grown adults who have been treated this way. It really creates monsters, and they're miserable. They're not comfortable, and they usually create a lot of tension and chaos in their family lives as well. So just something to contemplate. Yep. Anybody else writing in before I read a card to everyone?
No, you go right ahead.
Okay. All right. So today I drew a card from my Liquid Crystal Oracle, which is perfect for today's show, which is all about speaking our truth, living our truth. And it's Lapis Lazuli, and it's the card of realization. And this is what I have, a lapis that's in the shape of a heart, which I think is so perfect because lapis is all about expressing our truth, throat chakra, and inner vision crystal. But I love that it's in the shape of a heart because as I was meditating with it today, I just was really contemplating how the symbol of the heart, like it's all about our heart. It's all about being true and living our heart's truth and expressing from the heart. And when we're expressing, when I get back into like the egoic identification, like if we're in me, and it's just like fearful, frantic, egoic mind, we're in our mind, we will project and we will lash out at people with very little reverence for what they're going through because we're in that kind of fearful, frantic, egoic identification mind. And that's what we do there. It's this really insane place. And many of us as humans visited there, and maybe some of you are still vacating there. But we also have the opportunity to leave the mind space of ego identification and go into the heart. And that is a choice. And I feel like every moment when we're truthful, we know we have choice. But many of us, when we're playing victims, egoic energy loves to play victim and aggressor. It loves to go from, oh, poor me, everyone's against me, to, oh, I'm gonna lash out at all of you, and I'm gonna punish you, and then, oh, poor me. And it loves to play back and forth between the bipolarness of that creation. But when we can pull out of that and go into the heart, and we come from the heart, and we start to express our truth from the heart, it's going to come from a higher place of truth. There's going to be more truth-telling when we're coming from the heart. When we're just coming from egoic energy, it's just more like judgment and lashing out and reaction. So someone does something, you react. When we're in the heart, we respond from the heart, and we go into more of our inner reflection, and we reflect upon, okay, what was it they're trying to say to me? What is their meaning? What is the lesson here? What is the gift? What is, bring me clarity and understanding? And we go into the heart to understand. And then now Spirit speak through me in such a way that I express from my heart to instill more understanding in others. And so like today, if I was just like an egoic, fearful, frantic energy, I would be on here and I'd be blaming and I'd be telling everybody's names and like, oh, and this, and then she's a that, and he's a this. And I would be in a very judgmental place of what's right, what's wrong. But when I'm in a place of heart, I will still have gone through the experience, but I'm coming from a place of how may I express my experience to all of you in such a way that ignites greater awareness for the whole? How can I move through this experience knowing that it's not just about myself, but this is an experience that reflects the vast consciousness of all of us? So if I'm going through this and I'm struggling in any way to stand in my truth, and I'm having fear or being inspired to have fearlessness and to live with courage, then at some level I could ignite that in others if I come from the heart. So I just happen to love that it's in the shape of the heart. So long story short, it's all about coming from the heart. So in Lapis, this card represents realization. The Master Crystal Deva, Laswardel. I am with you, always by your side. I have come to infuse the desire for truth. Let us open you to your past, so you may hear the whispers of fear and pain at the seed of their creation within you. And I love that part because as basically a shamanic healer that helps people with soul retrieval and past life regression and all this stuff that I magically assist with, it's really going in and opening us to our past. Because in order to really become the embodiment of our divinity, to become everything we were created to be, we have to sometimes open up to our past to see where did those seeds, those whispers of fear and pain come from. Because those whispers of fear and pain were whispered to us. They weren't us. They were something that mom whispered into our ear and dad whispered into our ear and that teacher and that preacher and that, grandmother and that friend, the peer. And so if we don't have the courage to delve and look back into our past, we can feel very lost and very afraid of how do we feel empowered now. And in order for us to move into our divinity, this is the clearing work we all have to go through. And like I'm doing it myself. I'm working with my angels and guides. And then as a healer, I'm assisting souls with that same healing work when they're ready. But every one of us are going through this together. Do you guys get that? Like none of us are alone. We're all going through this together. And any of us that think, oh, I don't need to do any of that healing work, like, oh, it's all like woo-woo crap. And we're putting up guards and we're putting up blocks because we don't want to actually honor and acknowledge it. And we're afraid to tune into our past. And so we're kind of abrasive and we're aggressive and we're angry and we're fearful. It's all the whisperings of our past, and the only way we're going to be able to clear it is to have the courage to be vulnerable and to delve in and peek into our past to see where did it come from. And so as we move in and we can go, okay, what is this pain in me? Where is it coming from? This takes great courage. But what's beautiful is as we can tune into it, we can see where it came from. We can honor the illusion that it is, and that's not even got to be real for us anymore. But man, it certainly did have a realistic feeling in its creations of pain in us, but we're ready to clear it. And then as we release that, we return to our divinity. And each of us, like I am a goddess, I am a creatress. And I was telling this to the girls yesterday. We're around the table creating vision boards, and every one of them, some of them were kind of like, I don't know if I'm an artist, Tanya. And I'm like, and then the one girl, she's like, do you really think that we're all artists? And I was like, absolutely. We are all creators. We are all creators and creatresses in our own right. And what brings us the most joy is the act of creation. So when I am in my alignment, inspired and taking action towards creating something from my heart, I am going to feel fulfilled. And there may be work involved. I might be creating websites. I might be, putting out flyers. I might be taking action steps. But it will come from this place of inspiration and inspired living, and it will feel very fulfilling because it's coming from my heart, and I'm actually honoring my heart's truth. And every one of us are a creator. when we truly master this journey, we realize we become the ascended masters. We move into this mastery level